If you don't know me, I'm Carey. I am excited to answer some Q&As with you. And first thing I want to do is pray. Seems like we need to do that. And if you don't pray, that is okay, because I didn't pray either for 51 years, but now I do. So I am going to pray. Dear Lord, I just thank you for everybody that is here with us on this Facebook Live, and I'm excited about it. I ask you to guide us and guide my responses and bless everyone who is on this Facebook. Yeah. So
I'm not sure.
Second thing that I wanted to say before I answer questions is I've been so moved by reading some of the applications for people who were joining the Facebook Shine by Carey Lewis community. And, you know, you wrote your goals and what you hope to achieve and your questions. And I just thought, wow, these are people who are talented, but have a real heart for God and have an earnest desire to do good in the industry. So I was excited about that. And I wrote down a bunch of questions they're actually your questions, and I'm going to say your names as I answer the questions. But here's my sad, bad thing. So we had been getting these applications for some time since we opened the community. And I just assumed that when we clicked accept, that they got saved somewhere. So some of you that joined the community early, I don't have access to your questions. So what I'd like for you to do, if I don't answer your question, you still have questions, I'll try to answer it tonight. But also you can email your questions to hello@shine.us, because actually we're going to try to do this and I'll have guests every week, hopefully. Like next week will be Natasha Garcia, who is an amazing owner of AGI Entertainment. She is a singer-songwriter herself, but manages really, really successful singers. So next week we're going to have a special singing guest to answer your questions on that. But I am going to go to my very first question now. Sarah asked, this is from Sarah, unless I'm on stage, I'm an introvert and not much of a networker. So how do I promote myself? So I will say to you, Sarah, that maybe I don't seem like an introvert, but I'm kind of an introvert myself. And you know what my mama taught me when I was a little girl is you just got to put it on. You know, you gotta, and it's biblical actually, because we put on Christ. So I think that for those of us who are natural introverts or introvert extroverts, some of the top actors and performers in the world are introverts. So I think that when you're in a social situation, you just got to put it on, you know, be an actress and decide who you are and what your personality is, and just go up and be outgoing. And I think it takes a lot of energy for introverts to be outgoing, but nevertheless, sometimes we have to do it. So I say, when you're not on stage and you're someplace that you want to make a really good impression, you got to put it on. So there you go, Sarah. All right, Kathy asked, and I was so glad that you asked this question, Kathy. She said, what will the entertainment industry look like after COVID? So I got a really good answer for this. So I'm 64. My dad was a World War II fighter pilot, so he lived through the war, and before the war, World War II, he lived through the Great Depression as a kid. And, you know, there have been some recessions since then and the decades moving forward, but my dad said to me, Carey, there are three things that thrive when everything else has gone downhill, you know, in a war, or in a depression, or in a recession. And number one is liquor stores. Number 2 is beauty parlors. And number 3 is the entertainment industry. Looking for hope. They're looking for distraction, diversion. And although the entertainment industry is sort of at a standstill right now, along with much of the rest of the country, except for animation, because voiceovers, they've just been going strong all through COVID. But as soon as restrictions are lifted enough, the entertainment industry is going to come back like gangbusters. I mean, I think it will just boom. So now is a time where performers should really be honing up on their skills and expect the boom and be ready for the boom. So models, actors, singers, dancers, rappers, comedians should be practicing any way that they can, maybe taking classes online. But yeah, be ready for the boom. I'm expecting it. I don't know how long this will last. I guess none of us do. But as soon as work begins again in earnest, yeah, it'll boom. All right, Gino asked, how do you balance the life of a Christian in a secular world, especially entertainment? So I wasn't a Christian for my first 51 years on earth, so I know a lot about outsiders. I know a lot about the entertainment industry from an outsider point of view. Now that I'm totally devoted to Jesus, I know it from that point of view as well. And what I would say is Jesus himself, he didn't hunker down. He had his prayer times and he had his disciple times, but mostly Jesus, as a missionary, was out in the world. He was where the people are. He went to the people. And our Great Commission is to go into all the world with the good news of Jesus Christ. So there's really no better way to go into the world than through the entertainment industry today. So I think we balance the life of a Christian in the world, and especially in entertainment, by, number one, staying really, really close to the Word of God, in prayer. Stay close to your church if you love your church, and maybe have a small group inside your church of spirit-filled believers that you're just on the same page with them. And I think another way in the entertainment industry is to find your people. Find your brothers and sisters in Christ who also have a calling to the entertainment industry, so they understand your passion because it's their passion too. They understand the challenges because it's their challenges too. And Shine does that. And I would have to say in AMTC, Actors, Models, and Talent for Christ, before Shine, and now in Shine, Christians in the entertainment industry. All right, let me back up and say I love my church. I love my local church. I love my pastor. There are people in my church I totally respect. But as a whole, the Christians that I have met who felt called to go into the entertainment industry are the deepest, coolest, most active and outward bound Christians I've ever met. I would say that in a greater sense, a bigger sense, the coaches, the performers, the parents of the performers, the VIPs who are Christians, that's my bigger church. So I think in order to maintain our values in this world and in the entertainment industry, we've got to stay connected to God and to our people. Okay. Taquan asked, how do we create a greater stamp in entertainment using a digital platform? Okay, so I can't claim to be an expert in digital platforms or social media, but I think it's what Jesus did. We got to go where the people are. We have to talk the talk that people understand. Before I was a Christian, I just got irritated when people would talk. I called it Christianese, when they'd use phrases like, well, bless you. And I think, well, that's great, but I didn't quite understand what that meant. And I felt like an outsider who wasn't in the insider club. So I think that Christians who want to create a bigger platform in the digital industry, we need to talk the talk of the people. We need to speak in ways that they understand, you know, being positive, never denying God, always affirming God, but maybe talk with our actions and the content that we produce. It may not be overtly Christian content or an overtly Christian song, but it would be something with a deeper meaning that can touch and lift people. So, all right, Christy asked, what is the best way to get kids started locally? If a agent manager or casting director was sitting here next to me, because I've heard them say this hundreds of times, it's not just kids, this would be performers in general. They want everybody to start locally, you know, whether it's in your school, your church, your community theater, performing at coffee houses, state fairs, talent showcases that are local or talent shows. Do everything that you can in your local community. Take classes in your local community. You know, there are things that you can do for free, and there are things that might involve a little bit of money, but when you meet a national level VIP, or you want to move up higher in the entertainment industry, or maybe have a bigger platform or bigger base, they want to see what you've done with the assets that you already have. So they respect people who work locally and make the very best of that situation, whether it's a small town or whether it's a bigger city. So same thing with kids, get them involved locally in school, church, or community theater. And if you're thinking, well, I just really want to sing, you know, so why should I join an acting group, or I really just want to model, or I really just want to dance? I mean, those are all good to do, but remember to be cross-platformed and do everything that you can, because that is going to help you be a versatile performer and make you more appealing to national level scouts. So, all right, so these next three questions are kind of interesting. The first two, well, the first one is from Rosemarie, who asked, how do I get myself out there to get a role? That's probably the most common question that we get in Shine, is how do I get started? So Rosemarie, I totally get you on that one, but I'm going to read this next question because it kind of goes with your question a little bit more in one direction. But it's Angela. And Angela said the same thing. How does she get out there? But she added this, that she has zero money. But she does have talent and a passion, and Angela says she just needs someone to believe in her. Now, the third question is sort of the opposite of the first two. It's Shannon. And Shannon asked, what does it typically cost an actor in terms of time and money to get enough education to get started in the industry? Okay. So getting back to Rosemarie and to Angela, getting a role or getting out there, there's just so much more to it than that. There's a false belief, perhaps fostered by reality TV, that makes it seem like, whoo, you know, instant if you've got the right voice, or you've got the right dance ability, or the right look, like, wow. But that's for the 0.1% that have some sort of really fast discovery. 99.5% of successful working performers, they got educated, they got prepared. My mom said you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So the way I see it is, I wouldn't want to go on an audition until I was ready. I wouldn't want to make a bad impression on an agent or a casting director. And maybe I'm talented, but maybe I just didn't know what to do with my talent. And maybe I didn't have the right headshot. And maybe I'm 64, maybe I was trying to look like I was 40 and I'm not, or 18 and I'm not, or maybe I'm 15 but I want to look 25 and I'm not. So there's so much business to show business. And I think people that go into the business of show business thinking that it's just all about talent, there's a 99.5% chance that you won't get anywhere no matter what your talent is without being prepared. And Angela, I really because I've had a lot of people ask me that too. You know, I have the heart to do this, and I know I've got the talent. If somebody would just believe in me and give me a chance. So I'm going to compare the entertainment industry, like performing, to the sports industry. You know, because kids in sports and entertainers have a lot in common. It's very competitive. Millions of people want to do it. Often they start young, or they feel the calling young to be a baseball player, basketball player, whatever kind of ball player. Or they feel the calling young to be an actress or a singer or a dancer. But here's the thing about professional sports. Kids, teens, young adults in college and beyond, in sports, they know they got to work hard. They have the talent, Angela. They have talent just like you've got talent, but they got their talent honed by coaches, and they worked it for a good long time before they got to the level of possibly getting paid to do it. And the thing about agents, managers, casting directors, and producers, they're all incredibly busy. And there's so many people to choose from, you know, who are already not just talented, but they're trained and prepared. So unless you know somebody that knows somebody, or you just happen to be at a really odd place at a really odd time, and somebody's got nothing better to do than to shepherd you, it's just not how it works. You just have to be prepared, usually, almost always. And Shannon, your question about what does it typically cost an actor to get education and get started in the industry? There's no set amount. You know, people can go to school, they go to universities, and they get a 4-year degree in theater or musical theater, and that could cost several $100,000. Other people work locally and do what they can and save up little by little, depending on the coach or the school. So, you know, you tailor it to your budget and what you can do, but the most important thing is to do something, to get educated, to get prepared, because you're competing against super talented people who have done their homework. And if you read some of the advice from agents, and I do that all the time, we ask their advice, because I don't know as much as people that are working every single day in the industry. And their advice is to always keep training. Even if you are a successful performer, you're starring in movies, but you're still taking acting classes and getting prepared from someone who knows more than you do. Just like people who are professional athletes, they have personal trainers and they have coaches even when they're playing in the pros or the majors or the big leagues. So, all right, next question is from Esun, who asked, is it beneficial for somebody to undergo plastic surgery to be more marketable? No. How about that? I think God doesn't make mistakes. And I say we do the very best with what we've got. And we don't want to all look like Ken or Barbie. We want to look like us. We want our hair to be natural. We want to be natural, to be the best we can be. Absolutely. But don't take it to extremes. Uniqueness is precious. So unique looks, if your nose is a little to one side or whatever it may be, it just makes you more memorable. So I'm not about everybody looking like Ken and Barbie. I'm like everybody looking like God created them to look. So, yeah. All right, Emma Grace asked, who can she share her modeling portfolio with who isn't trying to oversell her something else? Emma Grace, modeling is a really hard field. There's so many bad photographers out there, I just couldn't count them. And then there are good photographers, but they don't really understand the modeling industry. So I will tell you the truth, that unless you've worked with a photographer who was recommended by a reputable regional or national agent, you're probably not going to have pictures that'll get you any work. So I'm not trying to get you to spend money. I'm just saying that to sign with an agency that is like in Atlanta or Kansas City, you know, a good regional market, but a national market, you have to have pictures that are as good or better than anyone else that's working in that industry. So you guard your money, you know, don't give it to people that don't know what they're doing. So you have to make sure that you're working with a national level photographer to begin with. Okay, Kim asked, how are faith-based films looking for the future? And yay, they're looking great. They're growing all the time. And PG-rated movies, like kids movies or clean, family-friendly movies, they make tons of money at the box office. So both faith-based films are growing, but just family-friendly entertainment is continuing to grow as well because it makes money, and that's what Hollywood is interested in, but we can use that to our advantage too. So keep on keeping on. Mary asked, how do I get in and not have to pay for auditions? Mary, you should never have to pay for an audition, any kind of audition. And, you know, there are a lot of casting websites, but I would go back to the earlier question. I don't think it's wise to audition until you're prepared. Again, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. You could have a lot of doors close, even if you're talented, if you don't really know what you're doing. So, but you don't have to pay to audition for anyone who's reputable. All right, Risa Grace asked, how do people in rural towns get the same level of training as people in larger cities? Well, that's one of the blessings of Zoom and social media, virtual coaching, virtual education has never been better. Virtual auditioning, self-taping. The industry has changed dramatically, Risa Grace, and I think it's changed for the better. You know, and all the decades prior to now, man, you just had to move to a major city if you had any idea of doing this as a career. But now you can really send in self-submissions from anywhere in the world for castings. And you can get education too from amazing coaches. So you can get the same level of training. You really can. Shine, I want to be plugging Shine, except that I love Shine. And I think Shine is wonderful, but not just Shine, but there are excellent coaches and professionals who are available. You just need to make sure that you get with the right one and that you study it from a national point of view. But good question. Mary asked, how do you know the authenticity and whether you should continue to pursue the industry? So this is Mary F. And I'm thinking that Mary means, how do you know if somebody really likes you? You know, if they're telling you the truth, maybe. So there's two questions. So the first question is, how do you know if someone's authentic and really likes you? Every legitimate agent, manager, casting director, producer, music industry professional, they're blunt. Some are kinder than others, but they're so crazy busy all the time. They're not going to blow hot air. If somebody says, I really like you, but I need you to, I don't know, send me a different picture, or I'd like you to tape the script and send it to me. They're not going to ask you to do that unless they're authentically interested in you. Now, there may be some scams floating around where, I don't know, they're trying to sell you something. But in terms of legitimate industry professionals, they are authentically busy, and they're known for being very smart and very honest, and sometimes too honest. Their opinions aren't always right, but they're authentic. So I think if you're dealing with professionals, you can count on their authenticity. Whether you should continue to pursue the industry, my heart breaks on that question. It does. When I became a Christian, and at the age of 51, I'd already been in the talent industry for 3 decades. So I was really used to working with performers who weren't Christians. And then when I discovered Jesus, my whole life changed. The name of my business changed. We became a nonprofit ministry, and our focus was taking all those decades of prior knowledge and connections and applying them to Christian performers, which sounds like wonderful, and it is wonderful. It was. But what I learned about Christians, this is going to sound like not totally nice, is, and I've tried to figure out why it is, but Christians quit more easily. They would quit the entertainment industry more easily. If they maybe got an agent, or they started pursuing it, or they got prepared, they got an education, they got a headshot, they got a resume. But if things didn't come easily to them, if they didn't start booking work right away, or maybe they got rejected, well, everybody gets rejected, but it just didn't come easily enough, and they quit more frequently than non-believers. And it startled me, and it made me unhappy. And I wondered why. Why is that? Why? The Bible tells us persevere, push through, go, for the upward call of Christ. It's all about persevering to the end throughout the Bible. So I would think that Christians would be the stronger perseverers, the more determined people. And some are, thank God. Some aren't. And I think it's because maybe churches, I don't know, if you're performing in church, for instance, maybe your church has a drama ministry, or you sing with the choir, and it's like being with your family at home, and everybody's so encouraging and, loving on you. And even if you don't do so well, they're loving on you. That was a good job. I enjoyed it. That's wonderful. But the world's not like that. The world is colder, and it's harder. And I just, when in the Bible do Bible stars quit on a calling? When's the right time to quit? That's between us and God. We quit when God said, it's finished. Jesus said, it is finished. I have finished the work that my Father gave me. So I think it's when it's time to quit is between us and God. But in general, if you want to be in the entertainment industry, and I say this to anybody who happens to be watching, it's wonderful. It's exciting. It's life-changing. And you got this passion inside of you to do this thing, and you got the talent. God says to multiply the talent. Well, God didn't say the path would be easy. So everybody, we got to push through. We got to beat the enemy at his own game. And the entertainment industry has been his own game, but Christians are moving into it now. And they're doing so well, and they're making a difference, and they're shining the light for God. But there's that thing about pushing through and determination and perseverance, and it's so important. So I'm just telling you, put your nose in the Bible and read about it, and don't give up on your calling. I'll tell you one story really quickly about Chrissy Whitehead. And she was a Christian before I was, but then again, most people were Christians before I was. But she was raised in a church, and she became a dancer. She was a very gifted dancer, and she became a New York City rockette when she got old enough. She got on Broadway. She did tons of stuff. And maybe one of her bigger jobs was being in the Broadway production of the Broadway revival of Chorus Line. She had one of the starring roles in that. And when that revival closed, she thought, you know, man, this is it. You know, I've been at the top. And she expected the roles to just keep flowing in because she had been doing so well. And it didn't. She had to audition like everybody else. And she said dozens of auditions, and she just wasn't booking. And so she gave herself a number. And she said, well, I'm going to go on 100 auditions. And if I don't book something at the end of 100 auditions, if I'm rejected from all 100 auditions, well, then maybe it's just time for me to take a break. Maybe God's telling me it's time to take a break or go home. So this is true. So she kept going on auditions and auditions, and you know, the numbers were getting higher, and she hadn't booked. And this is after starring on Broadway in Chorus Line, but she hadn't booked. So she's getting into the 70s and the 80s, and then she's getting into the 90s, the number of auditions without booking. And she hits 100. And she hadn't booked. But she really didn't feel like she should go home, so she upped her number. And I don't know what she upped it to. But you know, eventually, somewhere close to 100, over 100, she booked another really good role. But that's determination. So that's what we got to do. Okay. Jessie said and asked, quote, I know God is with me. Are there resources with Shine that will help get us through difficult moments? Yes. We got the deepest believers I've ever met. I mean, we just do. We have spiritual mentors, and their job is to mentor you. You know, when you have doubts or you have problems, you know, on the inside. I used to be challenged with feelings of worthlessness, and people would look at me because I had kind of a public role, and they would think, well, that's not possible. But it was possible. I did have that. It was sort of a secret torment. But that can hit anybody. Spiritual warfare can hurt any of us if we don't pray on that armor of God, stay strong in the Word, and it can still hit us. But that's where having spiritual mentors in a small group and people that pray with you, intercessory prayer warriors, I think that we need all of that around us. And so I'm all about it. And everybody that I know in Shine, and our former AMTC teammates that have joined us in Shine, we're all about that too. But I think it's a super important question that you asked, and I'm glad you asked it, so thank you. Mark asked, how old is the youngest that can be involved? And what I would say to Mark is, if you're a parent of a talented kid, in AMTC, the business that I founded before Shine, we took children as young as 4. You know, they had to be really unusual kids. They had to be very smart and very outgoing, you know, the kind of kids that are fine talking to strangers. I mean, you'll be there, but nevertheless, they can't get all shy and not answer questions. So a kid's got to be outgoing, have a lot of personality, be really smart. But here's the thing about kids, and it's not just little kids, it's any age kid. It's teenagers too. So if you're a parent of a talented kid or a talented teenager, you as a parent need to become expert in the entertainment industry. Maybe not officially, but at least unofficially, you're managing your child. So you need to understand the ins and outs of the entertainment industry, physically speaking, like all the do's and don'ts, like Christian Performer Readiness, the course that we'll be launching. I think enrollment starts June 1st, and the course itself starts in the middle of June. And somebody asked us a question, you know, well, is this good for a kid? And what I said in the answer to that is it's good enough for the kid. The kid should know, but it's really good for the parent because the parent has to know. So parents have to not only be physically acquainted with all the do's and don'ts and ins and outs of the entertainment industry, but they need to be spiritually grounded to keep their youngster just having a ball on set, doing his or her thing, while the parent is doing transportation and being an ambassador of Christ, being a prayer warrior, being the light, knowing the professional end of the business and the spiritual significance as well. So thank you for that question. Erica asked, where can she audition for us? So Erica, right now we're launching Christian Performer Readiness, the online course. It's a book that I wrote, and it's an online course, and it's amazing. It doesn't require an audition. But the next thing that we hope to launch in Shine is the Shine Virtual Showcase, Shine VIP Showcase. And it's going to be groundbreaking and amazingly effective. And it will be the first time in my life, having grown up in this industry and having produced showcases like Shine, like AMTC Shine for decades, and knowing other showcases and knowing how people go on auditions. There's one thing that's missing from every showcase that I have ever been involved with, including Shine, old Shine, was you just don't know how you did. You might get agent interest, and so you did well in that way, but you don't know specifically how you did. So the Shine Virtual Showcase is going to have guaranteed VIP feedback for all performers and all performances, so you know what you did. You know if you were close and just needed to tweak a little thing, or maybe you weren't even in the running. There was something big wrong. But whether it's something big or something small, you'll know. And I think knowledge is key. So when we do start auditioning, it will be virtual auditioning, and that will be on our website, how to go about it. Okay, Jamie asked how to make it in acting. Oh, Jamie, I remember you. Okay. So Jamie wanted to know how to make it in acting, and he was specifically interested in characters, comedy, and voiceover especially. So voiceover is it's the thing right now. It's the thing that hasn't stopped during COVID, and it will continue to be a growing thing. So voiceover is wonderful. We will be having a free webinar focusing on voiceover, Jamie, and for anyone else who's interested in that, that's something that you can even do in your home. You've got to get some equipment for it, but it's a very viable career option if you're talented at it. And Jamie said specifically that he is in his mid-50s and has a disability of cerebral palsy on one side. So I say to you, Jamie, whoa, go. I love your up and at it attitude. And your age isn't a factor at all. I mean, I love the diversity of the entertainment industry. I mean, there's stuff for everybody. It seemed youth-oriented, and in some ways it is, but our population is aging. So really there are roles for every type of look and every type of person. The fact that you have cerebral palsy, I think is amazing. It makes you one of those people that you are determined, that you do persevere, and that you do push through, and I'm sure you're smart. So I would just, there are agencies that specialize in handling people with disabilities because people get booked. Hollywood and the entertainment industry in general is about authenticity. I know it seems like it isn't because of all the fantasy things that we see, but beneath all of that, they like real too. So I think you've got your own niche carved out: character, comedy, and voiceover. Those would be areas that would work well for you. So push through keep your eyes open, and we will have more things coming for you. Jasmine. So Jasmine, I really got into your profile. I looked at your questions, and then, so here's Jasmine asked me this question, but I'll say, by the way, Jasmine has already achieved success as a performer. She has been a working performer, and she has an impressive IMDb. So Jasmine is a dancer and an actress, and she's very attractive. And her question was how to get larger auditions. And I'll answer your first question, and then she had a second question. But what I wanted to say about Jasmine, and I think this is pretty cool, and it talks about that earlier question about a calling. So Jasmine is not an AMTC grad. She's a working performer who, I don't know how you heard about us, but I'm glad that you did. And she just got a little bit tired of the entertainment grind of maybe not knowing that having a regular paycheck, you know, making money and then not making money. And she decided to take a break from being an entertainer. And because she's all buff, dancer, athletic, she decided to go to become a policeman. And she went to the police academy. And Jasmine, if I get this wrong, just, you know, give me some artistic license here. But Jasmine graduated from honors at the police academy, and she started being an actual police woman at the outbreak of COVID. And she didn't like that, and then she decided that she really, after spending 9 months becoming a police officer, she decided it wasn't her calling. You know, because that desire to perform was so deeply ingrained in her heart that she realized, like, uh-oh, maybe I need to get back to my calling. So I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for you. So question number one, how to get to larger auditions. You know, Jasmine, I discovered long ago that there are different levels of agent and there are different levels of casting director. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. They're just different. You know, there are casting directors that specialize in extras. Okay, well, you know that. But there are agents who only get the bigger auditions. And then there are agents that get all auditions. And then there are agents that specialize in TV commercials. So I think to get the larger auditions, you have to be with one of those agents that handles the larger auditions. And maybe you can. At the Shine events that we've done in the past, we made sure that we had all levels of agent. They're all reputable, and they're all industry professionals, and Jasmine understands all that. All of you need to understand that. But some people are ready to start in one way, and some people just, they were ready maybe to go into the larger auditions. So I think it's important that you meet the right people, is how you get the larger auditions. And here is a question that I couldn't answer, so I had to, I wrote my answers on this cloth with a red marker. That's how much I want to give you a good answer. So her second question, and all of you should be thinking about this if you haven't. Maybe you're experts at it. I'm not. That's why I got advice. But her question was how to maintain a good social media presence without spending every waking hour on it. Okay. I can understand that. So here's the answer. Batch your posts. So take some hours, make your videos, gather your assets, your videos, your photos, and batch your post. Use a free service like Later, Later, where you can schedule your post for Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, so you don't have to do it every day. And I'm trying to read my own writing. Know your audience. Like, who are you trying to help? I'm assuming you're a believer. Who do you want to reach? So you need to know who you want to reach. Do you want to reach other female actresses? Like who likes you? Who relates to you? So you need to know your audience. You need to research hashtags. Study other people who are in your genre or have the same attitude or maybe the same goals or somehow they're similar to you, and see what they're doing and how they're posting. And my daughter Glennis, who is a partner in Shine, the new Shine, she is an expert in these matters. In fact, everybody's more expert than I am. So we're planning to do a broader question and webinar about social media, because the truth is every single person watching me now and every single person that wants to be in the entertainment industry needs an active, positive, and growing social media presence. It's just required. Even for models in agencies, they list along with your pictures and your statistics what your following is in social media. Even for actors, we know it's important for singers, but for actors, if it's between, let's say you're a really, really good actor or actress, and you are in the top 5 people for a big national commercial that would be very lucrative for you, they're going to look at your social media following. It shouldn't make a difference, but it does now. Because if they were doing a Colgate toothpaste and they've got these 5 girls with great smiles, and then they look at their social media presence, they're going to think, well, wow, this one girl has this many thousand followers, and they're all going to be looking at her for our commercial, and that's going to get us more people looking at our commercial. And I'm not saying it's fair, and I don't love it, but it's just a reality of where we are today. So regardless of your age, my age, your age, it's important to have a social media presence. So good question. And I think that we are just about out of time. And what I'd like to say is, I'm sorry that we started late. We had some technical difficulties. And if you email your questions to hello@shine.us, either I or someone with me or someone instead of me, we're going to try to make these Monday night question and answers just continue. And these won't be made up questions. These will be questions that you send us. So hello@shine.us. Wanted to mention again that my good friend, Natasha Garcia, who is the owner of AGI Entertainment, the most amazing singer / songwriter / manager with a success record to prove it. Not just her personal success, but success of people that she has managed and groomed and helped. She also is wonderful with actors and dancers. But she is going to be on here next Monday night at 8 o'clock. So if you have specific singer-songwriter related questions, or you know someone that does, or you study her web presence, AGI Entertainment, and see what she does and who she is such a pro. So that will be so special. But email your questions to hello@shine.us, and she will answer them, and I will continue to answer them, and we will get it all done. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your patience at our late start, and have a wonderful evening.